Hello dear students, welcome to Bajirao Ias Academy interview guidance program. So in this session we will be discussing about the problem of communal rights in India. So communal rights are one of the most challenging issue that India has been facing. So India is known as a diverse country. So we often represent India with a word that is unity in diversity, where different people from different castes, cultures, religion, race, ethnicity used to live together. So therefore India has seen communal violence since last few decades, even after independence also. During the partition also we have seen a lot of violence. So therefore this communal violence has further continued. However, in this context it is very important that we need to create a peaceful, progress and tolerant India in order to achieve the growth aspirations, the developmental aspirations that we have already. So therefore in this context we will understand what exactly is the communal violence. So we need to understand the meaning of communal violence. Now communal violence is actually a form of collective violence. Okay, so the violence which is not perpetrated by one single individual, rather it is like a chain of violence. It is a collective violence that actually involves the clashes between different groups. For example, two different groups belong to two different religions have been the fighting with each other, so that can be categorized as communal violence. So they actually belong to not just two different religions but also ethnic groups, linguistic groups or regional identities. So everything can be categorized as communal violence. Now even if you look at the main syllabus of General Studies paper 1, communalism is one of the topic, and UPSC also regularly asks questions about the communalism. Now communalism is also very important for your interview as well. And if you look at the communalism in India, the communal violence is very often associated with the fight between Hindus and Muslims. Okay, so majority of the communal violence are related to Hindu-Muslim conflict. However, it can also involve other groups. For example, it can involve Sikhs, Christians, Buddhists, Dalits and tribals as well. Okay, so therefore the communal violence has also involved groups from different religions, but in India communal violence is mostly related to Hindu-Muslim conflicts. For example, we have communal riots in Mumbai 92-93 and also Godhra communal riots and Muzaffarpur communal riots. So everything you can see a conflict between Hindus and Muslims. So there was also a definition of communal violence in the Indian Penal Code. Okay, so Indian Penal Code had defined the communal violence so as any act that actually promote the enmity between different groups. Okay, so it promotes the enmity between different groups on the grounds of religion, race, place of birth, residence and language. So this is actually the definition of the communal violence, and it does act prejudicial to the maintenance of harmony. So when any instance of communal violence has taken place in any region, so that has led to the disturbance of peace in the region, so disturbance of the law and order in the region. So that has a lot of negative implications for the society and the country as well. Okay, so in this image you can see there are instances of communal violence in different parts of the country in different periods. So firstly, one of the most important communal violence is Kashmiri Pandit exodus in the year 1989. So there was a conflict between Hindus and Muslims, particularly Hindus who lived in Kashmir region. So they were asked to leave Kashmir, and that has also signified with a large scale violence by Muslims on Hindus. Now, apart from that, there was an anti-Sikh riots in the year 1984 after the death of Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. So that has led to the death of a large number of Muslims, and it has also created a large number of Sikhs, and that has also created the law and order issues in different parts of the country. So we should also discuss about 1992 riots after Babri Masjid demolition. So after the Babri Masjid had demolished, so there were also riots between Hindus and Muslims. And Delhi riots that were recently took place in Delhi in the year 2020. Muzaffarpur Nagar riots in the year 2013. Okay, so we need to talk about the Godhra riots 2002 and also the Bombay riots 1992-1993 and Assam violence between Bodos, so they were Hindus and Bengali speaking Muslims in the year 2012. So these are the major instances of communal violence or communal riots in different parts of our country. So therefore, in this context, we need to understand the major causes of communalism or communal violence in different parts of the country. So the first major factor is historical factors, so that are responsible for the communal violence. See, we have 200 years of British legacy. Okay, so we had seen 200 years of British rule. So the British colonial policies, or the policies which were adopted by the British, so they often categorized as divide and rule policy or divide and rule strategy. So that has led to the creation of communal divisions and tensions between different religious communities in India. So for example, the divide and rule policies they have adopted after 1857, the revolt, and also the partition of Bengal. So everything has led to the India-Pakistan partition and even the large-scale communal violence in India. So after that, we need to talk about the political factors that are responsible for the communal violence in India. Now, the political factors have become one of the most important and most key factor that has been responsible for the communal violence across the country, because if we look at the politics, they are trying to marginalize the voters. So they are trying to woo voters on hateful language. They use hateful language, hate speeches, and use ethnicity, religion, region. So therefore these factors also very often led to the communal violence. So the political factors such as competition for power and competition for resources within politics, so they are very often playing a destructive role or divisive political role, right? So they can contribute to the rise of communalism in India, or instances of communal violence in India. Now, some political leaders or parties may use the communal rhetoric to mobilize support and gain power. Now, if you look at the Muzaffarpur riots and even Godhra riots, so they often seen by many as the underlying factor behind those riots is mainly the political factors. So after that, we need to talk about the socio-economic factors that are responsible for these communal rights. So socio-economic factors are generally poverty, unemployment, lack of access to resources. So they can also contribute to the communal violence. Now, if you carefully observe the Assam violence between Bodos and Bengali speaking Muslims in the year 2012, so they have the socio-economic factors underlying for this communal violence. Okay, so access to resources, because since we have scarce resources, access to resources is a major reason for fight between these different communities. Okay, so we can talk about the Assam violence between Bodos and Bengali Bengali speaking Muslims. So after that, the other major factor is the socio-cultural factors that are responsible for the communal violence. Now, what are the socio-cultural factors? Now, the fragmentation on the basis of caste and class divisions in India, because in India also there are different castes who used to live, and there is also a wide caste discrimination in different parts of the country. So these caste and class divisions across India very often led to the communal violence. Okay, so because that also lead to the regional and linguistic differences and further contribute to the communal tensions. So for example, the caste based reservation system in India has often led to the communal tensions between different castes and communities. So after that, we need to talk about the role of media. Now, the role of media after politics, so it has become one of the most important and most crucial factor for the communal violence, particularly the role of social media that we have to recognize, because with the use of social media, spread of misinformation, that has led to the communal violence in different parts of the country. We have also seen during any instance, in order to protect the law and order, in order to prevent any instance of communal violence, the government first do shut down the internet services. Okay, so therefore in this context, role of media also is very important. So the media has been shaping the communal ideologies and spreading misinformation among the people, so that has been adding fuel to the fire whenever there's a communal violence related incident. Okay, so in fact, openly broadcasting these open speeches will further contribute to the rise of communal tensions between different communities. Now in this context, we can talk about different measures that have to be taken. So what measures we need to take, or what measures required to address the issue pertaining to the communalism in India? So firstly, we need to talk about promoting social harmony and understanding. And promoting social harmony is very important for peace, tolerance, developing tolerance in the society, and mutual trust, understanding each other is very important. So therefore, encouraging the interfaith dialogue between different communities, different religions is very important, so that one can understand others' religion and religious beliefs and religious sentiment. And apart from that, the cultural exchanges, for example, we can launch programs like Ek Bharat, Shresth Bharat. So they help us understand each other's beliefs, sentiments, so each other's cultures. And even the educational initiatives, particularly the curriculum which promotes the value of tolerance, which promotes practice of living together, diversity, respecting diversity, everything. Such educational initiatives should be launched, and we should also promote understanding and respect for different communities, and that can help in reducing the communal tensions between different communities. Now after that, we need to address the socio-economic inequalities as well, right? So there are different socio-economic inequalities. For example, India itself, income inequalities, regional inequalities, and the male-female gender inequalities, gender divide. So everything has been playing a key role, and even inequalities between different classes, different castes, and different religions. So these inequalities are also the major reason for the communal violence in India. Okay, so we have a economic issues like poverty, unemployment, and lack of access to resources. Since we do have a scarce amount of resources, access to resources actually plays a very important and very key role. So therefore, in this context, the government would try to prevent or reduce poverty and unemployment, and provide access to resources, and ensure sustainable development. So overall, this will help in reducing the competition between different communities for scarce resources, and thus it helps in reducing the communal tensions between these communities. So after that, we need to talk about the political aspects as well. We need to hold the political leaders accountable. For example, we need to advocate for the electoral reforms, where any politician who gives hate speech, he must be held accountable, or he must be punished, or he must be disqualified from contesting elections, so that we can refrain these politicians giving such hate speeches that could lead to the communal violence, large scale communal violence, and disturbing peace and creating the law and order issues in the region. So therefore, holding political leaders or the political parties accountable for these divisive rhetoric and communal actions, they can actually help in reducing the use of the communal violence or the communal ideologies for political gain. So after that, we need to talk about the media monitoring as well, particularly the social media. Now the social media regulation, social media control, and self-regulation of the media is very important to prevent the instances of communal violence in India. So monitoring and regulating the media to prevent the spread of misinformation and hate speech can actually help in reducing the communal violence or communal tensions. And we need to focus on implementing the legal measures as well. Okay, so there are set of legal measures also, so which aim at preventing the hate speech. For example, implementing those legal measures to punish those who incite violence and discrimination based on communal identity can help to reduce these communal tensions. So these measures have to be taken in order to prevent the communal violence in India. So prevention of communal violence is very important for a country like India, where in order to truly preserve our idea that unity in diversity, it is very important that the communal violence has to be prevented at any cost in India, and these measures have to be taken. Okay, so please remember these measures and also the factors which are responsible for the communal violence and previous instances of communal violence in different parts of the country. Okay, so that's all for this session, and thank you.